Okay, want to see magic trick? Magic trick? Okay, first you extend your arms, and then you cross them over, and they're locked, right? You can't move them, but whoa! Just like magic. In 4th grade, I wanted to be a magician, so I did what any 4th grader would do. I walked up to random strangers and forced them to watch me practice my tricks. Looking back, I was able to connect with people I'd never met before, people from diverse perspectives and backgrounds, through a common interest of really bad magic tricks. But in today's political climate, it's more important than ever that we find ourselves connecting through commonalities rather than differences. So today, first, let's open ourselves to the issue at hand, understanding why we have political biases against views different from our own. Then let's cross over and see the conflict that many Americans are facing, before finally learning the magic trick that can help us solve this issue. But first, let's start off by understanding the issue at hand. Now, a recent study was conducted asking one simple question. When given the choice, would people rather read an article with a political view similar to their own, or have the chance to earn money? On one hand, people were given the chance to earn up to $7 on a text similar with their same view as their own. But on the other, they could win up to $10 with a view different from their own. Now, you would expect people to want to go, "Get that money!" But the results showed something else. 63% of participants chose to give up the chance to earn more money to read a perspective similar to their own. Why is this? Nobel Prize winner David Kahneman, in his book Thinking Fast and Slow, outlines this fundamental dilemma by explaining that humans have evolved. You see, a long time ago, humans viewed the unknown as dangerous and presenting lots of challenges. Over time, they've come to recognize that the familiar is more safe and involves less mental processing. As a result, we've taken cognitive shortcuts, and instead we gravitate towards things that are familiar and that we recognize. Now, we can see this playing out in our own personal lives. Washington Post explains that 75% of all Americans don't have a single close friend of a differing political view from their own. But what is really concerning is not that this is a huge divide, it's the fact that this divide is increasing with every single day. Now, there are a couple of fundamental reasons for this. Number one, recently there has been an onslaught of fake news that perpetuates views similar to our own. When we see the fake news, we want to believe that it's true. Number two, big tech is recognizing that we have biases to perspectives similar to our own. And they've built this into their algorithms. Whether it's on social media or news sites, we are now finding it more easier than ever to get our information through echo chambers. And number three, the recent political climate has created an increasingly polarizing situation where people no longer feel comfortable discussing with the other side. This has created dangerous levels of disconnect. The Pew Research Center explains that political discourse is at an all-time American low since the founding of our nation. I can see this statistic best illustrated through my friend, who we will call for privacy reasons, Jonathan. Now, there are 3 things you should know about Jonathan. Number 1, Jonathan is an avid Golden State Warriors hater. He just cannot accept the fact that Steph Curry is one of the greatest shooters of all time. Number 2, Jonathan is an out-of-state transfer who transferred into our high school recently. And number 3, perhaps because Jonathan is not from our area, Jonathan's he's a conservative. See, growing up in the Silicon Valley, supporting Bernie Sanders is almost considered being a moderate. Jonathan was one of my first vocally conservative classmates I had. Yet, through discussions on US foreign policy, current events, and more, I've slowly come to realize that it's been the difference in perspectives, not similarities, that I value most in our friendship. Jonathan's perspectives allowed me to examine my own, especially considering the fact that I grew up in an environment where I'd never needed to justify my perspectives before. All in all, this has allowed me to expand my worldviews. But unfortunately, not everyone seems to value Jonathan's different perspectives. One day in class, Jonathan stood up to give his perspective. When it happened, classmates started muttering, "Conservative, conservative, conservative, conservative," when the word conservative was turned from a label to a derogatory term. And in that moment, I saw my friend, Jonathan, bullied to the verge of tears because people couldn't and wouldn't listen to a perspective different from their own. But what makes this so alarming isn't the fact that Jonathan was mocked in class, a place that should be an educational safe space for all people. What hurts is that Jonathan is not an isolated case. In the weeks leading up to the 2020 elections, I saw classmates post on their social media, "If you're a conservative, you are a racist, sexist, homophobe. We cannot be friends. Don't talk to me." It was as if a line had been drawn. You were either a good person or a bad person, and there was no in between. These people had somehow simplified human beings with views and feelings into a collection of political perspectives. So, what is the solution? How do we address this? Well, we can see this best through the story of Daryl Davis. Now, Daryl Davis is a black man, which is exactly why you wouldn't expect him to attend KKK Klan meetings. But for over 10 years, he did exactly that. And in his time, he was able to make numerous people quit the Klan, including an Imperial Wizard, one of the highest nationally ranked Klan members. What was his secret? He didn't attack or berate anyone. He did the opposite. He invited them to barbecues. And through this, he was able to show them a perspective they would have never considered before. Davis shows us that instead of extending fists of hate, we need to open up and to extend palms of empathy. Now, some people may say that it's not worth their time or that it's too much effort to show people who don't have common sense the right perspective. To this, I would say, nothing worthwhile is ever easy. Because, ladies and gentlemen, if ending racism were as simple as posting on social media, racism would have been ended a long time ago. The fact of the matter is that this issue is ingrained deeply into our human identity. And if we want to fight prejudices that have been built into our cognitive systems, we have to fight it with empathy. And who knows? By having open and genuine discussions, you may find your views challenged just as others may find their views changed as well. So today, first, we understood the issue at hand, understanding why we have our cognitive biases, but then also seeing why this has seen an uptick in recent years. And then we opened ourselves to seeing the conflict play out through the example of Jonathan, but then understanding that Jonathan is not an isolated case. Before finally, seeing through the story of Daryl Davis, a solution, discussion. So all in all, we've come to see that the simple solution is to discuss. It's a simple solution, not an easy one. But if we commit to connecting through commonalities rather than allowing differences to divide, we can challenge the fundamental biases ingrained into our human identity. So the next time that one classmate stands up and he starts giving that perspective, take a risk. Try walking up to them after class. Tell them, hey, I have a really bad magic trick. Want to see it? Who knows? You might just make a new connection, just like magic. Thank you.